I always operate on the belief system that I'm going broke.
There's generally way more failure in entrepreneurship than success.
It's just kind of poke at as many points as they can poke at until something breaks through.
If you are not, as a business owner, leveraging AI and at least willing to look at it,
yes,
you will fall behind.
And how can you have a vision if you don't know that this platform exists? They're soaking it up and they're getting more efficient and they're applying it to their worlds. You got to put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
So got to reorganize it.
Companies just spend a huge amount of time and money piecing that back together just to try to get back to work. It's like the arms race has just moved so much faster than it was moving even before.
What's like the first step? So everyone, I guess, that's listening, welcome back to the Dylan England Show. Pumped you're back. Pumped you're here. We have Matt Loria joining us today. Auxiom IT. And Matt's a stud. You're a great dude.
And don't tell too many people that.
Matt's okay.
Keep the expectations low.
Yeah. So Matt, tell us really quick about what do you do? What's Auxiom IT? Give us a little bit of background on kind of like who you are.
Yeah. So, I'm a dad and husband first, right? See, I made sure I took that note before I even started.
That's good.
You like that?
Yeah, that's good.
But no, I own a company called Auxiom IT, and we do a few different things. We're a managed IT services company. We're a value-added reseller. We're a cybersecurity company, and we're a budding AI consulting company. So, got a lot going on in our.
You're not busy at all, right?
Nope.
You have nothing.
I sleep
going
a
on.
lot.
Yeah, I have nothing going on. And how many kids do you have?
4 kids.
4, and you have 4 kids.
Yeah, we just realized that one of them is 2 years older than you.
That's a realization.
It is.
That just shows how young
you
I
are.
am. Yeah, exactly. Oh man, so
I almost pinched your cheeks as I said that.
Yeah,
too,
please don't. They're very hairy. I'm working on the beard. Are you a beard guy?
No, and usually I don't trust people with beards.
But you know me and Wes.
I do. And so far there's like 2 good ones.
2 good ones.
But I can tell you a little story about a don't trust a guy with a beard.
I'd love to.
So I go to the car wash, and the car wash literally knows me, and they know me to have so much crap in my car that they bring me a cart every time, like without asking.
And you are the same person.
Yeah. So I have to put everything in this cart, and then I walk it to the front while they take care of the car and everything. So, but I'm also like a little kid where I want to watch the car get washed. So I leave my stuff up there, and then I'm like, oh, I got to go watch the car get washed. I start walking back to go get the cart and the car because the car had gone by. And I think I had gotten stopped. I was talking to somebody or something like that. That probably doesn't happen to you ever, does it?
No, never.
And all of a sudden I'm walking back towards where the car would be, and the guy is walking back towards me with an empty cart. And I go, I think he's messing with me because I'm there so much. I'm thinking like the guy knows me. He's messing
good
with
one,
me.
right?
Yeah. He said, and all of a sudden his face like just turns pale, and he's like, "Dude, I just loaded your stuff in somebody else's car." He's like, and they told me it was theirs. He's like, they lied to me. So anyway, blah blah blah. We're looking at cameras, doing this and that, calling the cops. Cops figure it out. They end up, they end up busting the guy eventually. But before they had busted him or whatever, I go home and I'm like, all like, what do I do? Yeah. And by the way, I start adding up. This thing went from like, I thought it was like earbuds that I had left in the car. And it was like, we had added it up that the policeman, it was like over $8,000 worth of stuff that I had in the car. Like, how do I have that much crap? Yeah. Right. I just had so much crap. And so he's like, well, that's like kind of grand, whatever. I don't remember what the term
grand
larceny. Grand larceny. Something like that.
That's the word.
And so anyway, I go home and, the kids are like, they're little and they're like, whatever, sitting there eating on the couch or whatever. And telling the story. And one of them looks up and he's like, guy have a beard? I go, he did. He goes, you never trust a guy with a beard. I go, I did say that. Yeah. Okay. I didn't really mean it, but I said it.
That's interesting. See, I don't trust bald people.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. Not as a.
But you're the exception.
I appreciate that.
So we make the exception for each other.
Let me just say this: if you go to a barber and he's bald, I might consider not trusting.
Yeah, that's a sketchy. Yeah, because there's a lot of bald bearded barbers.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Also, everyone, if you see me looking in this corner, we have Jackie here.
We do.
At the podcast too. So Jackie works with Matt, and Jackie makes sure Matt's life functions.
It got me here a half hour early.
Yeah, first time.
Never happened before.
And then we just yapped for 30 minutes. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
we just blew it.
It's amazing how that still works out. So, Jackie, we're glad you're here on the show, too. So
She didn't make me wear the shock collar or anything right now, too. So
you can say whatever you want.
Well, but I could look over and get the look.
Does she have the look?
Oh, yeah.
She looks
my wife,
like she has
my
the
president of my company, Catherine, all those three
Catherine gave me the look.
women in my life have the look for sure.
That's probably a good thing. We need people to give us the look.
I need constant correction.
My wife still, when she looks at me that way, like I like crap my pants. Like it's terrifying. I'm like 3 times as big as she is. And it's just, it doesn't matter. She can just look at me and just like freeze me. They have that power.
Want to hear my story about being bigger than my wife?
Obviously.
Okay, so I have this theory
Jackie's like,
of,
stay on target.
of trying to keep my weight in check.
Uh-huh.
I can't be more than twice her weight.
Oh, okay.
If I am, the day that I end up rolling over on her, in our sleep and suffocating her, I don't want the news article to say, man more than twice her size. I would rather it say like, man, twice her size, man, almost twice her size,
not
something like that.
Grossly.
So like that's my...
Yeah, when you get to 3 times, that's when you got to be
That's
really
what
careful.
I'm watching. Yeah, so that's my number. So just if you want to leverage that, you can.
Definitely feel like I'm already there. My wife's like a little like Italian woman.
So then if the news article happens, I mean, it's going to say,
yeah, but
can
she's
you live with
feisty,
that?
dude. She'd kick me right off. Yeah, she could shimmy out.
She would shimmy
out.
My wife's a deep sleeper sometimes.
Yeah, my wife isn't. I'm the deep sleeper. Yeah. So anyway, so this is the show. Welcome to the Dealing. That's why we were going over notes. I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna matter, but this is what we do. We love riffing. So you mentioned a couple different things, and our audience is like all over the place. So we have people that watch it for entrepreneurship, people that watch it because they're business owners, they want to learn something. There's a lot of things that you said that Auxiom does, and I want to get into that. But before we get into that, Auxiom, very successful company. You guys are doing amazing things. You guys just hosted an incredible event down in the Godfrey, right? The Godfrey.
Kickstart 26.
Incredible. Beautiful venue, great speakers. Shout out Blue Water, met with Scott, like just great people that you have. So I want people to understand that like when I bring guests on the podcast, these people know what they're talking about. Matt is someone that's very well educated in this space and has a very successful company. So just wanted to start there and kind of set the scene. What got you into IT? How did you get to where you're at Auxiom?
Well, I'm not an IT guy by any sort of training or by trade earlier in my life. I guess tangentially, I kind of always was. I grew up always being an entrepreneur. So when I was 7, 8 years old, I was the guy making flyers saying Dolphin Car Care, I'll take care of your car, right? All that sort of stuff, and putting the flyers out on people's cars. And since I know how young you are, you wouldn't know this, but using my Apple II GS to print that out on a ribbon printer.
It's pretty high tech.
Yeah, it's probably costing me like $40 a page or something. My parents $40 a page to do that, but I blanketed the neighborhood with that stuff. So always owned my own business, whether it was that sort of stuff like detailing cars. Owned a small business installing electronics and shrink wrapping boats through my college years. Got me through college, and then took a job in the computer leasing world, which is the area that my dad worked in. And so, long story short, actually, in halfway through there too, my dad owned a boat business. So he owned a boat store, and so my dad was always an entrepreneur. So caught the bug there, and then also learned that historically we have some family members that were entrepreneurs earlier on. So
nice.
It's been coming out of the lineage here.
Yeah.
So after college, got a job in the computer leasing world where I was doing some stuff with computer leasing, which again is more of a finance type of job, not really a technical one. Yeah. And then my dad ended up starting a company called Resource Partners, which is a computer recycling company, just kind of overgeneralizing that. They call it IT asset disposition is the industry it's in. And long story short, my brother and I ended up taking over that company. Dad got sick. My brother and I bought him out and ended up taking over that company. And we, at some point, had a managed IT services company working for us. And it was kind of an easy thing for us. We just picked up the phone one day once we realized we needed some outside help And we called the guy that we knew that did it. His name was Scott Gomel. He owned a company called PMV Technologies. And so they came in, they did a great job for us. You know, I was running sales. My brother was running operations. Neither one of us IT guys. We had an IT guy doing kind of our system, like that ran the business, but these guys were taking care of the firewall and the switches and the blah, 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 blah. And they're doing a great job. And they came in, they would advise us monthly or quarterly or whatever it was, and loved them. Well, they sold the business. And that sale was really disruptive to the service that we received. And so, you know, I mean, literally we were crying, talking to the people there because we loved them. And we're like, we're going to have to fire you. Like, this isn't working out. And so, but again, we're kind of neophytes in this whole thing. We're like, we'll just pick up the phone again, call the next guy that we knew. So call the next guy, and we had some troubles there, and called the next guy and had some troubles there. And the troubles tended to be around scalability. Bring me on as a customer, good for me for our first couple of weeks. And then after that, they're off to the next shiny ball, taking care of the next customer. And what we started to realize is these managed IT companies had so much wrapped up into the owner or the couple of leaders in the organization that they didn't build out scalable processes, procedures. And so they just couldn't serve us. And so at that point, I was getting ready to leave the company. I told my brother we needed to be more successful separately than together, business partners. And he says, well, what are you going to go do? I'm like, I'm going to go start a managed IT company. He's like, you don't know anything about IT. I said, I may not, but what I do know is I know that we had it right once. We haven't found it right since. And we're finding that this market,
there was a need.
Yeah. There's a hole. And so got into it.
What is managed services? Like I actually don't know what that is. So I'd be able to learn right now.
Before I get into what is managed services, I got to give some credit though. So I did have a partner at the onset who was a highly technical person. So
makes sense.
Dan was the partner at the beginning. He actually named the company. So got to give him mad props for a lot of the foundation on the culture that was set there.
Okay.
Back to your question. What is managed services? So managed services, it can take on a variety of flavors, but it's essentially a company that's coming into another organization to take care of some or all of their IT needs. So sometimes I say it's the unsexy side of IT that it's taking care of.
Would it almost be like a fractional IT? Is a way
you could call it that. Yep.
View it that way. Okay, that helps my brain. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's kind of like an outsourced IT.
Yep.
A lot of our business though is what we call co-managed IT, where we're doing it alongside of somebody else inside the organization. And so
that makes sense.
The best relationships with that are when the internal people are handling the ERP system or the things that ring the cash register or make the lawyer more productive or make more parts come out of the other end of the manufacturing floor. And then we take care of keeping the highway alive, the network, the security, the email, all of that sort of jazz.
Where does like cybersecurity fit into what you guys do with like managed services and that kind of stuff? Because when I think of IT, that's immediately where my brain goes is cybersecurity.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be at the foundation of really everything that you're doing right now with technology. The managed services does have a lot of elements of cybersecurity built in, but we have a whole separate cybersecurity practice where somebody can just call us and just say, hey, help us get better with cybersecurity or sell us the things that we need to get better there. And so it's really embedded in everything that we do. So it's on every aspect of the service offering.
And we were talking before. So one of the things interesting about cybersecurity is you mentioned how like AI has impacted cybersecurity as well. Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
How walk us through how AI has impacted cybersecurity. What should business owners be on the lookout for? And then like, how have you guys been able to kind of like work to keep people safe?
I mean, if you think about like what the cyber criminal is doing, right? It's just kind of poke at as many points as they can poke at until something breaks through, right? So if you take and say, they've got systems. So before they just had computers and now they have AI, which makes smarter systems to poke, and not just poke, but trick, infiltrate, whatever, what have you. So the good guys have AI systems that are built to try to thwart that. The bad guys have AI systems that are trying to break that. And so it's just, it's like the arms race has just moved so much faster than it was moving even before.
When a company is looking at like cybersecurity, like when do they know they need help? Like when do they know that they're like, it's not enough? You know what I
I mean,
mean?
the second they open their computer, they should know that it's not enough. But no, I mean, um, anytime they're doing something for someone else, right?
Mhm.
If you're receiving an email for somebody from someone, you should be thinking about it. If you're giving an email, sending an email to somebody else, you should be thinking about it. But usually companies start to think about it as they mature a little bit. So a lot of people you'll hear talk about stage 2 companies. So like if you're an
Mhm.
EOS guy, you know,
Yep.
everybody talks stage 2, you know, around that time when you're starting to really formalize other business processes and procedures is when they tend to take it more seriously. Where they take it most seriously is usually in second gen, or professional CEO comes in to run the organization, is when they really start to take it seriously.
Yeah, because I know like most computers have like an antivirus software and stuff like that. So you're saying that's not really enough.
Yeah, there's layers of cybersecurity, right? I mean, you can think about it like your house, right?
Sure, that makes
You
sense.
got windows on the house, that's good. You got locks for the windows, or
Yeah.
little snaps that, I mean,
But do you have a camera system?
do
Do
you
you
have
have
a
an
camera
alarm system? You're right.
Yep. Do you have a dog?
Same thing.
You know, do you have whatever?
Yep.
It's multi-layered, and then, you know, and then you need different parts of it for different things. One thing, you know, the lock might be there to try to keep the people from getting in. You know, you might have the club or whatever, that thing that wedges in the bottom of your door, you know, that might be another thing that helps keep people out. But then you've got the identification systems, like the cameras act as an identifier, right? The neighbors even act as an identifier. There's all sorts of layers to cybersecurity, the fences, the walls, the height
Yeah.
of that, all of that sort of stuff.
What's like the first step? So if a business owner is listening to this and they're like, I don't even know if like what was the first step someone should do to try to protect themselves when it comes to cybersecurity?
They should call somebody who specializes in some level of cybersecurity. That's one thing they should do. But no, one is they should have something called EDR, endpoint detection and response. So we specialize in a system called Sentinel-1. You might have heard one called CrowdStrike.
Yep.
They should have something like that. And what that is that's antivirus on steroids.
Okay.
And it's just the funny thing is that it's just table stakes now. If you don't have it,
You need your
you're flying naked.
Yep.
The other thing that they need some level of incident response plan. So when something does go bad, what do we do? Where is all the stuff? That's
makes
the
sense.
biggest problem, most expensive part of a cyber attack is nobody knows where all the stuff is in order to identify how do we unscrew
like the
how do we
recovery
unscrew
mode.
the
Yeah,
pooch,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. What's the name of that company that they do restoration? It's like
Like it never happened or
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
Yeah. It's like the same kind of if you don't have
Yes.
a restoration plan, like your
Sure.
data could be
Sure.
gone.
I mean, or it's like if you don't have like a fire escape plan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have a whole lot of great things going on, but if you don't know how to get out, you know, but the other thing is that the rebuild after a fire, right, is insane. It's like, it's not just that you have to identify to the insurance company, you know, we
What
had
caused it
a
or
house,
whatever.
what
Yeah, yeah.
caused it. They want to then know what were all the contents, right?
Yep.
And let's just pretend you were able to give them a list of all the contents, and they took a dump truck and dumped it on your front lawn with everything from silverware to underwear, right, in a pile with all your furniture, with all the drawers mixed up.
That makes sense. Yeah.
You got to put Humpty Dumpty back together
Yeah.
again.
So got to reorganize it
And so things are just not documented, things are not organized, and that's
Mhm.
the problem. And so then companies just spend a huge amount of time and money piecing that back together just to try to get back to work. And so that is some of the cheapest. That's some of the cheapest work that we do is incident response planning to get people ready for that. And that's like, I mean, you can be talking a couple $1,000 to $5,000 a year is cheapest insurance you can imagine, right,
sure.
to be able to rebuild that.
Do you have like stats on cybersecurity right now? Like how many businesses get screwed each year? Because I know it's like way more than people think.
Yeah, I don't have the
Yeah.
stats. I want to say 43% sits a number in my head from some recent studies, but I can't recall the stats.
Yeah, I know
off
I
the
was
bat.
hearing someone talk about it, and it was like when they said the number, because I'm friends with another IT guy in one of our networking. He said a number. I was like, oh wow, like
Yeah, it's legitimate.
It's
It's a real number.
Yeah, it's way more businesses you think. They might not. They're at least under attack. And I think pretty much at some capacity, almost any business at some point will have someone trying to poke holes at their system.
I mean, it's happening all the time.
You don't even know it.
You don't even know it. Usually your firewall's catching it.
Yeah.
Lots of challenges there too, that those firewalls have to be configured the right way. And this is just work that an owner of a company thinks is just happening. And they may think and have trust that somebody's doing it for them, and they just don't know how to ask the right question, unfortunately, and to look at that. And so it's scary stuff.
Yeah, so for all my EOS people out there, it sounds like this should be a quarterly rock.
This should be a quarterly rock.
Like if you do not have cybersecurity, and I know even like we got set up with Keeper with you guys, which is like a password management system, which is something we needed to do anyway, so that worked out well. Although they made me buy the annual plan, which was really annoying, but it's a good thing. And so like our passwords are all now secure through Keeper, which is great. And actually, Ken and I literally yesterday went through and made sure everything was like organized.
Awesome.
And Keeper's cool because you can even like delegate roles and like have passwords only with certain people can see certain passwords. And it's a cool system.
It is. And you know, that you actually, that's probably even one of the first things. Like the first and cheapest thing you can do is just
password management system.
Just get that going. Get the passwords off the spreadsheet. Your computer's hackable. Your spreadsheet's hackable.
Yep.
Let's put it into something that's less hackable, right?
Yeah.
Everything's hackable.
Right.
So, I mean, there's nobody.
Yeah, I remember when like Elon was starting Tesla, he was paying hackers to hack a Tesla. So he had like, this is early, like back in like the mid 2000s when Tesla, he would pay hackers. And it's like, if you can hack into a Tesla, you get like $1 million.
That's awesome.
And he had like a prize pool for all the hackers to try to hack a Tesla because he knew that if someone could do it, it's not secure. And so he actually literally hired like the worst of the worst bad guys to pretty much give him free data because they were, so that like, that's how important. I know like people are worried about Teslas and people hacking that. And,
sure.
Because he said anything technically, if it's connected to the website or the web is hackable.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of scary to think about.
It is. Let's not think about it.
Yeah, I'm going to get spiral down some deep conspiracy theory
well,
stuff.
The funny thing is like when you just said that too, is like, you're like, hey, Elon paid people to hack in. Now that everyone on earth understands, but we in the IT world love to complicate things and we like to put a name to it and an acronym and things like that. So we'll call it things like pen testing, penetration testing, right? And then we'll say things like red team, blue team, purple team, sort of stuff. Like we'll just throw all this crap at it, right? That's like that nobody then knows
confusing
what you're
jargon.
talking about.
Yeah.
So we would love for you to join the
you
sales
can hire
team.
me.
You can join the sales team.
Consulting. Yeah. On we protect stuff.
So everybody should be doing a pen test too annually as well. So
and pen test is a penetration test of like making sure that.
No, I need you to say it like how you said it before. Oh, yeah. Pen test is just
we'll pay people to try to break it.
Bam.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. My friend Danny Reed, Danny's like one of the smartest. So he's my roommate in college.
Okay.
Side story. He built a Segway, like, you know, the Segways you ride?
Yeah.
He built a Segway from scratch in our dorm room. He's like an Iron Man. Like, he's like Iron Man. Like he had the Andrometer and like he built all of it to tip and he would code everything. So he's like a nerd, right? Wow. So he built a full on and he would drive it around campus, but he built it from scratch in our dorm room.
I've never done anything like that.
Incredible. So super smart guy. And their like capstone class for one of their classes was, I think, pretty much a pen test where they had a software. And to graduate the class, they had to break into the software.
Oh, neat.
It was a really cool class because basically the teacher's premise was if you don't understand how the bad guys work, you can't protect against them. And so he taught them how to hack. He taught them how to actually do that. And I remember like he was working and I just see him like, code like Python or whatever he's doing. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, no, I'm just hacking into the like whatever. I'm like, what? He's like, no, it's part of my class. And I was like, okay.
That's great.
So we had this thing in our school. It's called the Gold Rush Days. Okay. Basically what it is, you had like all the dorms that would be assigned different teams. It was like campus wide. You had red versus green. And you guys signed a team, and it was like dorm versus dorm. It was like this big, massive, like week-long extravaganza, and it got intense. Like, so you got points for different things, and there were games, and there's like Gold Rush games. It was like a big, massive school-wide event. One of the people hacked into the alarm system, and at like 1 a.m. and so we have bells. So in the dorm, there would be a bell that would like signify like each period throughout the day, right? So it, like if it was like 7:50, the bell would ring, so you knew you had 10 minutes to get to your class, right? They hacked the bells to do Morse code. So we were the red team, and it would do Morse code RED at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And so someone hacked the bell system of the other team. So all the people were trying to sleep, and the bells just went off every hour for a night. That guy got in big trouble, but it was worth it. Definitely worth it. Good time. So that's where hacking could take you. You never know.
That's true. Yeah. He's probably got a great job today, actually, doesn't he?
He's probably actually very successful, if I had to guess. Yeah. Okay, so that's a little bit about IT. So let's talk about like some of the lessons you've learned. So a lot of my listeners are young entrepreneurs looking to get lessons. I ask this question a lot, and I like the question. Because when we think of entrepreneurship, we always want to think of success. We're always like, Lamborghinis, cars, I'm going to be whatever. But what people don't realize is there's generally way more failure in entrepreneurship than success. So, what was the lowest moment that you've had in your career, and what lesson have you learned from that? And then the flip side of that, what's the highest moment in your career, and what lesson did you learn from that?
Lowest moment. I always feel like I have a lot of highs and lows. I don't feel like I have one that I would say was my lowest moment. I always operate on the belief system that I'm going broke at all times, and so I feel like I self-impose that. So I've been working on that definitely, differently.
Mindset shift,
different mindset shift. But no, I think, gosh, I don't know. I don't know about the lowest moment.
Yeah,
I'm going to think about that one. But
think about it.
What I would tell you is that the best thing that you can do is marry right. Right? Because your spouse, I think, and I know people smarter than me have said this, is the biggest determinant. Who you partner up with in life is your biggest determinant of success. And so if you have somebody who's, chirping you all the time and giving you a hard time and not supportive of what you're doing, it's not going to work out.
Yeah. I did not hire Cannon until I talked to his wife.
We do that with every major hire.
Yeah. Because, so we first connected in August of last year. Then September was when we really kind of were like planning to launch the company. Had no money we had no clients. I had an idea of a company that I think we could start. And I said, hey, I have no money to offer you, but I have this vision of this company. Like I'm a visionary's visionary. Like I've learned that. And that's actually why I struggled in insurance, because I was forced to be an integrator. And I was like, well, I don't feel like I'm a dumb guy, but why do I hate like putting the round peg in the round hole? Like it's so boring. And it was because I was in the wrong seat for like 8 years, because they force you to be an integrator. Like if you're in an insurance seat, you have to just go do. They tell you what to do. You're not allowed to vision cast. Like you have to go do what they tell you to do, sell how they tell you to sell the product they force you to sell. And I was like, why am I miserable here? It's because I was in the wrong seat. Yeah. So I learned that. Thank you, Mike Gruley, for pointing that out. I learned that like 6 years too late, by the way. But anyway, so Cannon, I talked to his wife. I said, hey, listen, this is risky. I have an idea. We have no money. We have no clients, and I can't pay Cannon until we get a client. And I don't know when that's going to be. But I also believe in this. Fast forward to where we're at today. She was bought in. She said, I'm in. She had peace about it. She prayed about it. Cannon's getting paid double what he was paying in his last job, right? So like it was worth that risk for them, which is a blessing and really awesome. But I remember just saying like, hey, like you have to be bought in or I'm not hiring your husband. So,
yeah, I just think having a spouse that's supportive is probably one of the single biggest determinants of your success in life. And so, I'm very fortunate that my wife supports me consistently, constantly. Doesn't nag at me about things, even when she probably has the right to do so. And so, I would say those are things that I think are important to young entrepreneurs, like you were saying, that's some of your audience. And it's like, if you're having troubles in the dating phase, I think it's time to punt.
Especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur, because you think it's hard now.
You wait till there's a kid. You wait till there's a house.
You wait till it's like you're 6 months into a company and haven't taken a paycheck. And, your wife's like, I see money in the business account. I'm like, yeah, but we can't.
That's not real money. That's not real. Yeah.
Yep. And
that has cost of goods sold against. That has payables against it.
Yeah. And so like it's a big month for us. First time taking a paycheck this month from the company.
Ooh,
so my wife is not going to leave me. No, I'm just kidding.
Great.
So like we bought more time. No, I'm just kidding. And she's like, I think
have another kid. That's always a good thing to do. No. Like if you're having trouble.
Yeah.
Just have another
stack
kid.
it in.
Yeah. Stack it in.
Yeah. I think we had the second one in the middle of starting a new company. And so that has been fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, great timing.
We renovated a house during the start of ours, like literally stud down.
Why do we do this
crazy
to ourselves?
Insanity.
Yeah, but we're good. I think my wife wants like 4 or 5 kids. And I'm like I'm all in. Like I'm great, but like give me like a year. Like we had back to back pretty fast.
Need a little gap here.
I just I just need a moment to like breathe. Budget.
Like when people do that gap year though from school, sometimes they never go back.
I'll be honest with you, I love my 2 kids though. Like I wanted more than one. We have 2 amazing children and I'm fulfilled and like I couldn't imagine loving another kid. Like I remember when we had Madeline, she's our oldest. I loved her, and I'm a daddy's girl. Like daddy, like she's daddy's girl. Like,
Yeah.
like you know, she could tell me to do anything, and I'll be like, okay, not really, but like she just is like, and Curtis is definitely mama's boy. So that's kind of the dynamic in our house. But I remember when Curtis was going to be born, like a month, I told my wife, I said, I know I'm going to love this guy, but I love my daughter so much. I don't know how I have more love to give. But then you do, you figure it out.
right.
And then your kid shows
Right.
up and you're like, I love these two so much. How can I love anyone else? So we'll see. We'll see what's in the cards. But for now, we're grateful for 2. You have 4.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And but you are right. Marrying the right person and getting them on board. Big deal. As we wrap up, I mean, the time goes so fast. Like I want to thank you guys for driving all the way down to the studio. I want to just pause and talk a little bit more about like, what are you looking for when you're searching for your clients? Like, how do you help them? Like, let's talk about the business and really like what you guys do. So like, who are your guys' ideal clients? Like maybe there's a listener listening to this that's a business owner that should be calling you. Like,
Sure.
who are you looking for?
We're mostly serving the middle market. So, you know, and that stage 2 is kind of a good kind of catch-all, if you will, of a starting point, right? Somebody who's made it past maybe the $5 or $10 million mark and is really growing their company. But we have clients from that $5-10 million mark up to into the billions. And
Nice.
so, but I say squarely in the middle market is where we serve the best. And so, you know, anybody in that swatch there. So if the middle market bankers are after you, we're typically good at helping
You know that Auxiom's a good
companies
call.
like that. Yeah,
To make. And I wanted to shout out something else that we're doing together. So you have a podcast,
we do.
BLTnT podcast. It's amazing. You guys do a great job. You've had some amazing guests on.
We
Talk to me a
have.
little bit about the podcast.
Yeah, the podcast, I mean, was just kind of birthed out of, you know, my typical MO is everybody I meet, I'm always looking to figure out who could I connect them to? How can I listen enough to them to understand what they do, to then want to, you know, trust them enough to then connect them to somebody who could bring value to them. And that doesn't mean just a customer. It could be an advisor. It could be anything. It could be a CPA. It could be whatever. But, you know, wanting to know what is going on in their world and so that I could bring some value to them, whether we do business together or not. And so one day I was out to lunch at the Detroit Athletic Club, and I'm sitting here going, I'm in this beautiful building, hearing this wonderful story from this person. You know, I got to scale this. I really have to scale this. This is my calling, is to connect people appropriately. It's to provide value to people. It's to serve people. And so my friend Curtis Hayes had been bothering me about starting a podcast, and he had started one, Bullseyes and Bullhorns, or Bullhorns and Bullseyes. Okay,
Nice.
Sorry about that.
Second one.
Yep. And they've been doing that on the topics of marketing. And so been doing a great job with that and messaging and things of that nature. And so he said, man, you've got to do this. And I said, you know what? You're 100% right. I'm going all in. We built a studio. You know, Jackie and I
Very nice.
built out a studio, had some help from the guys on the team who were in the audiovisual side of the world, and built it out, did it up. And then started to really reach out to people who were already in the business, a guy named Greg Garrett. So Anthony Laverde, who was the CEO at Imagine, now works with Detroit Manufacturing Systems. Anthony, I told him what was going on, and he said, you need to talk to Greg Garrett. Greg's got a podcast. It's called You, Me, and Your Top 3, and they're doing some cool stuff. And so I called Greg, and I said, hey, you don't know me, but you know, tell me what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what could you tell me? And he's like, hey, get 20 episodes under your belt. You know, you'll then figure out kind of what you're really all about. You know, you'll figure out this business a little bit. You'll figure out that it doesn't generate business, that you're really serving first, and good things will come to you. And so that was that. And then here we go. And so
here 50 plus episodes in.
50 plus. I think we're actually over 60 just that are in the can. So over 50 put out there.
And then John Glahn connected us.
He did, yeah.
Have you been on his show yet?
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
been
so-
on John's show.
It's amazing how, like, as you know, I love the relational side of podcasts. Like, that's at the beginning of the show, we were talking about just my journey with meeting cool people through podcasts. And so John connected us, and then, you know, you've been a blessing, and it's been fun working with you and Jackie. And
Yeah, for sure.
we're excited for this year for the BLTnT podcast. So, guys, subscribe to the BLTnT podcast. That will be in the linked description below. We also have is AuxiomIT.com. What's your guys' website?
Auxiom.com.
Auxiom.com.
No IT in the website.
How can people reach out to you? Is there a form? Is there a
Yeah,
number?
there's all sorts of ways on the website to get a hold of us that they can reach out and get to us, so they can call you, get my cell phone number
Perfect.
directly.
Yeah.
No
Call
problem.
me. If you don't know who I am or you don't have my cell, go to Auxiom.com And you're doing great work with the podcast. And I will say you are a giver. You connected me with someone that looks like they're going to be a client. So I appreciate that with Scott. And, you are a connector. And I do think that you find value in connecting and helping people. And I think that's why you've enjoyed the show.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the show. And I've just enjoyed those blessings back. I mean, it's just has always served me well. And so now with this big boom in AI, we've got a lot of ways that we're helping people with artificial intelligence and coaching people along the way and keeping them
let's
secure.
talk. We have 5 minutes left, so I think we're good, Jackie, on the camera. Okay, really quick. You mentioned you have like a new division of the AI kind of thing in your company. Talk to me about that real quick.
So we've got a couple of companies that we're representing that have some really neat baked out AI services and products that we're representing, doing some consulting ourselves, AI readiness, AI security, and then ISO has actually come out with an AI governance model. So, they're capitalizing on it, just like as you imagine they would. But it's super necessary because you got to get everybody playing with it. Every executive, every person, I think, but let's just say every executive needs to be spending 30 to 60 minutes a day deeply into AI, conversing with it, figuring out how to build agents, figuring out how to take it to the next level, figuring out where value streams can come to you, because it just opens your mind so much to the possibilities of what's going on in business and what can happen in business in the next 10 years.
And you said something in pre-podcast that I want to make sure is highlighted, more than just using it to write your email. Really getting in deep and learning how to use it as a tool. I think a lot of people use it as agents, like scissors when it could be used as a full house manufacturer. You know what I mean? And so I think what you're suggesting is CEOs, C-level execs need to be using it as the tool it was designed for, not just, hey, fix my typos.
Because that's where you start to see, so as the CEO, you're typically the visionary of your organization. And how can you have a vision if you don't know that this platform exists, right? So, we might have a vision to have an airplane, but if we didn't know that airplanes existed, we might just say, I just want to get somewhere faster. And we might not have any way to truly vision that to happen. And so once you get into these tools, you then can start to say, oh, I can apply that to this business process. Now, you might not be able to do that yourself. You might have to call in a consultant to help you with that. That's fine. But it's up to you to have those ideas. It's up to you to really be visioning that out for your organization. And that's where the magic starts to happen.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that if you're not, you asked me before if I think podcasts are dying. I'm like, no, I don't think so. But then it's also, if you are not, as a business owner, leveraging AI and at least willing to look at it, you will fall behind. Like, it's one of those things that it's here. It's not really going anywhere. And maybe you are a mechanic and maybe there's not massive, but there could be, and there could be massive cost savings.
Absolutely.
So I think sometimes we're just afraid of change and we're afraid of doing something new and we're like fear of the unknown. I don't want AI to steal all, I get that, but I also say it's also not going anywhere. So either you need to learn to adapt it, and it doesn't have to run your organization. You don't have to fire all your employees.
No.
That's not what we're saying. But I do think for us as an agency, that's what we were talking about earlier. We're able to keep our prices lower because of AI.
Sure.
We're AI transparent. We'll tell you exactly how we're using it. We did our onboarding calls. This is how we use it, how we don't use it, right? We use real editors for all of our stuff. We don't use AI to edit. But we use AI to find best moments. Or we use AI to help us with copy. That's a tool that as an agency owner, I would be dumb to not use.
Correct.
And that's how I think that a lot of business owners should look at this. Is it's a tool. Now, hiring a consultant to teach you how to best use that tool is why I think a company like yours someone should call.
And before you know it, your brain will just, when you mentioned the mechanic thing, I can't even stop myself from thinking about it, right? The mechanic, I know how mechanics bill out. If I can make myself more efficient as a mechanic because I can upload every PDF of every car in the world, their mechanic book, whatever that looks like, their technical manual, I can fix cars faster, right? And so
almost have a chat, even a verbal chat that
100%,
and go back.
You could have your hands all greasy and be talking about it all day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Training time goes way lower. You could have an AI trainer,
you bet. But if you didn't know that it existed and you wanted to live in a vacuum and do the kind of is that they call it the ostrich effect, where you put your head in the sand? If you want to do that, that's fine, right?
But just know other people are ostriches with their head out of the sand.
You bet. Yep. And they're just they're soaking it up and they're getting more efficient and they're applying it to their worlds.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Matt, this has been fun. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for driving all the way down here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this has been fun. Sorry for the camera, but again, joys of running a podcast is gear doesn't always work.
Love
but
it.
thank you for your flexibility. Thank you, Jackie, for coming as well. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Dylan England Show. As always, subscribe, comment, share with a friend,
Yeah,
share with your
don't
mom.
subside.
Subside is, I don't even know what that is. It's
I think it means to
bad
like
thing.
back down.
Yeah, don't back down.
Don't back down.
Lean into this episode.
Yeah,
Share it
subscribe.
with a friend. Subscribe. Thank you, Matt. And please check out Matt's podcast, Matt's socials, Auxiom.com. If you want any type of IT help, they're here to help you. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.